Hello friends and viewers, welcome to my channel Quality Magnify India. Hope you are doing well. In my last few slides, I have already taught regarding API 570 and 510. All of the course for 510 and 570 are already covered in detail. Hope you are watching those videos, making note of them, practicing at home, and utilizing those in your daily life. If you are preparing yourself for API courses, I believe those slides will help you a lot. So friends, as I agreed and I promised to you that I will continue with API 653, then further 580 courses. So from today onwards, I will start for API 653 as we did earlier for 510 and 570. We complete API 563 course with some few slides as we did in API 510 and 570, which covers around 10 to 15 slides. So let's start API 653 training course part 1. For API 653, I have already explained earlier regarding what are the course coverage, what are the fees, how to apply for the API, what are the qualification and experience is required to sit in the exam of API 653. Hope you watched those slides and if you are preparing for API 653, then you may watch these slides and which I believe this will definitely help you in crack for API 653 exams. So let's start. So introduction about API 653, its fees, examination details and all other details are mentioned in my last video. What I will do, I will put a link in the description for those videos. If you didn't watch those last videos and you are a new subscriber or new viewer to my channel, so please do visit that video which earlier I have uploaded. You will get all the necessary information regarding that one. What are the fees, how much fees is required, how the examination you have to apply, all the details, everything is there. So link is in the description, so you can find it and you can watch those videos before going for API 653 exam. But here also I will briefly explain you how you can go for a prometric exam for API 653 or any API exam. Okay, how the prometric exam works, and then we will switch over to API 653. So as I told you earlier, API exams are done through online applications only. There is no hard copy applications you have to send to them and they have to approve. No. There is a website in API and you have to visit that website, and after visiting that website, then you have to apply online, giving all your details, and by paying a suitable fees which is mentioned by API, then if your application is approved, then you can attend the exam and go per eligibility of the exam. There are certain criteria which I have mentioned in my last videos. Okay, so all the applications are online and only with the basic qualifications and experience. What is your qualification and experience is required, those are already mentioned in my last videos. So please do watch and then apply for API exams with watching my slides, making notes, and with a proper preparation. Without preparing for API, you will lose money, might be you fail. So to do a proper preparation, then only you have to apply for the API examinations. Okay. So briefly we'll discuss about API examination. What are the cover in API 653? If you are preparing for API 653 exam, so what are the questions, how the question pattern is, how it happened, how many questions will come, what type of question it is. So all these things we will discuss here. API 653, there is two part usually. One is closed book and another one is open book. What do you mean by closed book and open book? Closed book, there is no hint, nothing. There is a question, so there are some multiple answers, you have to choose one answer and that's it. That is closed book. So for closed book, which happened usually on the first session, if you are going for APA 653, there is two sessions. Okay, first session is for closed book and the second session is open book. So first session, the duration of the exam is 2.75 hours, which is 2 hours 45 minutes. Okay, 2 hours 45 minutes the duration, and the question is around 105 to 110 questions. It is not fixed. Usually 110 questions came, but it varies. 105 to 110 questions came. Okay, out of which multiple choice is 90 to 100 questions. What do we mean by multiple choice? There is a question, there is A, B, C, D. You have to choose A or B or C or D. So this is multiple choice. You will get 90 to 100 questions per multi-choice. Multi-response, 2 to 4 questions. Multi-response, there is more than one correct answer. Okay. There may be A, B, C, C, D. There is more than one answer. It is called multi-response. Drag and drop, 2 to 4 questions. Drag and drop means you have to pull the answer and put it in a box. Okay. So that is called drag and drop. So that is 2 to 4 questions. Extended matching pattern, extended, you have to put the arrow. Okay. There is 3 to 4 on the left corner and 3 to 4 matching pattern on the right corner. So you have to put arrow mark. So that is called extended matching pattern. So like that, suppose this is 1, 2, 3, 4, there is 4 questions. Then here 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to make it arrow, like you have to join with arrow. Okay. So that is called extended matching pattern. So 2 to 4 questions. So like that, in closed book questions, there is total 105 to 110 questions and the duration is 2 hours 45 minutes. After you complete closed book question, there is a break for 45 minutes. You may ask, if you complete your questions, closed book questions, before 2 hours 45 minutes and you are ready within 10 or 15 minutes to start for open book question, you can go for that. Only you have to inform the examiner who is taking the examination of you remotely. You have to inform them and they will allow you. Okay, but the basic which was given by API, the recommendation is 2 hours 45 minutes. You have to go for 105 to 110 questions, then take a 45-minute break, and then for 3 hours 45 minutes, 3.75 hours or 3 hours 45 minutes, 60 to 65 questions, open book questions. What is open book? You can take reference of the codes. 650, 653, 571, 575, 577, all the codes will be displayed in your screen. And you have to take the reference. In the question, nowhere it will mention which code it is. That you have to find out. If there is a question, it will never mention from which code it is, but you should know whether it is 650 or 651 or 653 or 577, where it is. Then you have to go and search in that code. So that is called open book. In open book, there is multiple choice, 50 to 55 questions, and all other questions 5 to 10. When I say all other, this is 3. Multi-response, drag and drop, and extended. So this 3 category, this 3 type of pattern, 5 to 10 questions, and multiple choice is 50 to 55 questions for open book examinations. Clear? So how Prometric Testing Center regulations for APA individual certification exam? When you are ready, you know the pattern. There is open book and there is closed book. Once you know the open book and closed book, then you are ready to go for the exam. So what happens? Candidate will require to present a valid ID. Okay. Suppose your examination is approved, you fix a date and time zone, everything is done and you are going for the exam. So before starting up exam, you have to log in with your IDs and everything. So once it is logged in, one examiner will come and he or she will ask you for a valid unexpired government issue photo ID for verification purpose. Okay, this can be driving license, passport, national ID, military ID, whatever it may be. Okay, primary government issued photo ID does not have a signature. A second ID with signature must be presented. If your ID don't have a signature, please don't bring that. Please bring something which you have a signature. Okay, the ID must be in English with Latin characters as is required by Prometric. Candid with a continuously monitored by a video. If you think in the screen, you cannot see the examiner. But don't think the examiner is not looking you, not watching you, not examining you. Yes, he is watching you from remotely. So don't try to do any type of cheating or something. Okay, it is not allowed. If they catch you, might be you will be suspended from the exam. Okay, so all testing center are video and audio recorded. So your testing is recorded by audio and video, and it is watched remotely. Okay, prior to entering the test room, candidate will be required to undergo the following security procedures. Before starting up any exam, the examiner will ask you to check all this metal detector, to check your pockets and everything, whether you bring some cheats or something like that. So all these things will be checked. Okay, candidate will ask to empty and turn pocket inside out. Candidate who refuse to follow the test center personal instruction will not be allowed to enter the test room and take their test. So all these things, like simple exams, how you will go there, you have to enter the room like that. You don't bring any metal detectors, you don't bring any paper cheats, you don't bring any mobiles or something like that. Everything you have to leave there. Your pockets and everything should be clean. There should not be written anywhere you try to cheat. So all these things the examiner will verify. Okay, candidate will require to sign out when leaving the test room and sign in and show identification prior to re-entering the test room. So open book work, closed book exam will start. So you have to sign in, then you have the question will come, you have to attend the question. Once the question is completed, you have to sign out, then you leave the room. Then after break again you come back, again you have to show your ID and you have to sign in again. Okay, communicating, publishing, reproducing or transmitting any part of the examination in any form of by means of strictly prohibited. I personally request, don't try to do any of this, neither you will be suspended. APA exams are very strict and try to do it as honest as possible. Okay, conversing with other candidates, referring to other computer screens, testing materials or written notes is prohibited at any time during the testing day. So be careful for that. Paper, notes, published materials and other testing aids will be not permitted in the computer testing center. Candidate will not be permitted to bring any personal or unauthorized item into the test room. Okay, such as include but not limited to outerwear, hats, food, drinks, parts, nothing is allowed. Okay, it's a 2 hour 45 minutes, so you have to control your hunger and whatever it is. Okay, no need, don't try to bring anything. Okay, try to do the exam as neat as possible. Soft earplugs with no ears, cord attached are permitted. Sound reduction headphones are available at many test centers. If you need some sound reduction devices, then you can request at the testing centers, they will provide that. Candidate will be provided from removing jewelry or articles of clothing such as overshirts or sweaters while in the test rooms. That is suspected things should be removed. It means suspected things need to be removed. The following policies will be enforced for all breaks, both scheduled and unscheduled during the. If break is taken during the exam, candidate must return to the original assigned seat. Repeated or lengthy unscheduled breaks will be reported by the proctor. If you need a break, you can take a break, but that is with prior information to the examiner. The main thing, whatever you want to do, you have to inform the examiner very clearly. Okay, without his information, don't go for a break. And if you are going for a break, try to make it as short as possible. Candidate may not discuss the exam with any person while on break during the exam day. The use of cell phone and other electronic device during scheduled and unscheduled break is prohibited. Okay, this is very important. Cell phone and other electronic devices must remain in the locker provided by Prometric for the duration of the examinations. The examination to this rule is only during 1 hour lunch period provided during the APA 510, 570, 653 examinations. Okay, all material issued by the proctor must be returned at the end of the exam. Candidates are expected to conduct themselves in a civil manner when on premises of a Prometric test centers. To protect the privacy of all tests, Prometric staff will neither confirm nor deny if a particular individual is present or scheduled for test centers, and persons not scheduled to take the test will not be permitted to wait in the test center. So the basically APA says you have to give exam of API as honest as possible, as neat as possible, okay, and try not to cheat, because if you cheat and it is recorded audio and visually, and if they catch them, you will lose the exam and you have to reappear for the exam where you lose money. So better try to do the best honesty and neat way to give the API exams, okay. So there is a point system. If you will ask, there is total 170 questions is asked in API, out of which 30 questions are having no mark, okay. You don't know which 30 questions have no marks. 140 questions have marking and 30 questions don't have marks. So this 140 questions, each questions carries some different points, okay. And out of that point, if you score more than 4 points, usually they say you are pass, okay. The result of API exam usually came after 15 minutes. You submit your examinations papers, okay. You finish your examination, open book and close book, within 15 minutes to 24 hours they say, but usually 99% within 15 to 30 minutes you will receive a mail from Prometric Center that whether you are pass or fail or marginal pass. If you score more than 400 points, you are pass. And if there is a certain percentage, it is less than that, less than 65% or something they say. If it is less than that, it varies actually, depend upon the difficulty of the exam. If more difficult, then the percentage is less, and less difficult, the percentage is higher. So for that reason, there is a percentage, usually 65% and less, they told it is fail. Fail means fail. You are fail, you have to reappear for the exam. There is a marginal pass. You are neither fail, you are neither pass. You are in between, maybe 65 to 70%. Above 70% you are pass, below 65% you are fail, 65 to 70 you are marginal pass. So for marginal pass students, they evaluate your paper again, and there is a chance of 70-30 that you may pass or fail. 70% student pass, but 30% students got fail. So for that reason, you have to attend, you have to try not to come to in the fail category, neither in the marginal, okay. Always try to score more than 70%, which is usually above 400 points. So if you score above 400 points, you are pass. So let's start 653 exam. Usually for 653, you need to understand 650 first, okay. First we will go for 650, then we will go for 653. You will not understand the construction of the tank. 650 is the construction of new tanks, okay. 653 is in-service inspection of the tanks. So for 653 exam, I mentioned here how many questions you will get from which code, okay. You will find in API 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 codes from API and 2 codes from ASME. That means total 10 codes will come, okay. So total 10 will go for 170 questions, okay. Total 10, and the question number is, total number is 170. But that doesn't mean everybody has the same weightage, okay. That is different. API 653 has 80 to 90 questions. Whereas API 650 is 25 to 30 questions. Most of the questions will come from API 653. Okay, so we have to read API 653 very thoroughly. API 653, when I say 80 to 90 questions, it includes both closed book and open book. So it is 80 to 90 questions. API 650 is 25 to 30 questions. 571 is 10 to 15. 575 6 to 10. 651 4 to 6. 652 4 to 6. 576 4 to 6 questions. 577 4 2 to 4 questions. And section 5 and section 9 has 6 to 8 and 8 to 10 questions respectively. So this is usually the pattern. It may vary, but very slightly. It will not vary like API 650 will come 80 to 90 questions, never. API 653 will come 80 to 90 questions. Maybe some exams it is 78 questions, or some exam it is 92 questions, but not less than that or not more than that. Okay. Similarly for API 650, 571, whatever the course I say, the average questions expectations are within this range only. So what is tank? We'll start from API 650 and we'll in this slide we'll read up to chapter 3, okay, for API 650. So whenever you go for a tank, there is 3 things, okay. One is foundation. You have to make a foundation. Then there is a tank, and there is a roof. Okay, the tank has two things, cell plate and bottom plate. Okay, the bottom plate, we can say bottom plate, annular plate, or sketch plate. What is the difference? I will tell you. Okay, so one is foundation, another one is the cell plate, which includes the cell plate and the bottom plate, annular plate or sketch plate, and another one is the roof plate. Okay, so first, foundation. Foundation is a civil work where before construction of any tank you have to prepare a foundation. Okay, foundation can be a concrete foundation, can be a soil foundation, can be asphalt foundation, can be a different type of foundation. That depends upon the requirement of the owner or purchaser. Okay, how big the tank is, what is the purpose of the tank, what liquid it will hold in the tank. So based on that, the designer will decide what type of tank it will be. Okay, whether it is a full concrete tank, the tank foundation will be full concrete, or it is a ring of concrete and inside they will put some washable soil or washable sand. Okay, or it is a asphalt tank, or it is a soil type of tank. What type of foundation it will be, that the designer will decide. Okay, then the bottom plate, annular plate, and sketch plate. Why we call it three names: bottom plate, annular plate, or sketch plate. So when you come to the bottom, okay, so this is maybe the bottom. Okay, if the cell plate, okay, if I will draw the bottom here and the cell plate is sitting here, so in this area, if a ring is used, okay, then we call this ring is annular plate. Okay, if no ring is used, then we call it a bottom plate. Okay, annular plates is a ring. Annular plate is a ring. Okay, and it is welded with several segments. Okay, this annular plate will be welded with several segments, and these joints are always butt welded joints. So that's why we call it annular plate. But for bottom plates, the joints are lap welded. Okay, fillet welded lap. One plate is like here, so another one plate will overlap on this one. Okay, and the welding is here. So we call it bottom plate, but it is not required to be butt welded. Okay, the code never says that the bottom plate need to be butt welded. Okay, and the sketch plate is the bottom plate welded with the cell plate. This plate is called sketch plate. The corner one is called the sketch plate. So the annular plate and bottom plate, you understand, sketch plate is more similar to the bottom plates. Okay, so here the roof plates, here's the roof is there. There are different types of roof. We will read it about what type of roof it is there and how it works in the 650 course in detail. Okay, and there are some points I have mentioned here which we have to remember. Annular plates are always butt welded. Okay, annular rings, this is annular ring we called, and this plate is called annular plate. So these annular plates are all butt welded. Sketch plates are those where no ring is required. So as I told, sketch plate and bottom plate are almost same, where one plate is overlap over another one plate and we do a lap welding. That plate we call this sketch plate. First cell course is always higher the thickness. This cell plate, okay, this is the cell plate. Let's say there are 5 cell cores. So if you see, the first cell course is higher thickness, second cell course is less thickness, third cell course is less thickness, fourth cell course is less thickness, and the fifth one is the lesser one. Okay, and if you put a center line, everything is in the center. Okay, so the first cell course, what is selling? The first cell course is always higher the thickness. Cell plates are always staggered, minimum 5 times the wall thickness. What do you mean by staggered? These horizontal joints, okay, it cannot be like that. Okay, it always to be staggered. How much? Minimum 5 times the wall thickness. If it is 10 mm, then the staggered distance between this joint and this joint should be minimum 50 mm. Okay, it should be above 50 mm. Less than 50 mm is not allowed if it is 10 mm. Okay, so this is called staggered. Okay, and the roof, there are different types of roof is there. As I told, later on we'll discuss about the roofs, type of roofs. So here it is a fixed roof. Okay, fixed roof. So for the roof, there is 3 things is required for assembling a roof. That is column, girder, and rafter. What is column? If in the center there is some support is there. Okay, then if the tank is bigger, Sometimes more than one column is used. Okay, so this is called column in the center. Okay, and girder, what is girder? The horizontal one. Let's say this is the roof. Okay, and this is the column. Then here whatever the thing is coming, it is called girders. Okay, horizontal ones, and the inclined ones are rafters. Okay, so there is some floating roofs are also there. Floating roofs, where floating roofs are used, where there is a evaporation chance is there. At that time we are using floating roofs. So floating roofs, there is two types: internal floating, external floating. Okay, internal floatings. So a roof is floating only when we call these external floating roofs. Okay, if roof is floating only, then we called a external floating roof. If the tank is like that, okay, and we have a roof like that, and it is supported with some structures, we call it externally floating roof. But if above the externally floating roof there is a fixed roof, then we call it internally floating roof. Okay, for above external floating roof, if there is a fixed roof above, then it is called a internal floating roof. External floating roof during rain, if there is no proper drainage, then it can sink. That is true, because the fixed roof is not there. So if it is external floating roof, if there will be rain, then it can shrink if there is no proper drainage. But for internal floating roof, if there is a fixed roof on top of this, so it can be avoided. So let's start APA 650, chapter 1. There are few points you have to remember, and you will find must questions in APA 650 from APA 650. Okay, in the APA 653 questions you will find must questions. The first questions: this standard establishes minimum requirement for material design, fabrication, erection, and inspection of vertical, cylindrical, above ground, closed top, open top, welded storage tank in various size and capacities for internal pressure approximately atmospheric pressure. What is atmospheric pressure? 15 psi. Okay, internal pressure not exceeding the weight of the roof plates, but a higher internal pressure is permitted when additional requirements are met. This standard, this is a question you have to remove. You have to remember. This standard applies only to tanks whose entire bottom is uniformly supported and to tank in non-refrigerated service that have a maximum design temperature of 200 degree Fahrenheit. This is very, very important. You will get a question from here. Maximum temperature 93 degrees centigrade or 200 degree Fahrenheit for non-refrigerated services. This standard is applicable API 650. Okay, we will come to another annexure where it is more than 200 to 500 degree F. So this is a question, must question. Okay, so you have to remember 93 degree maximum design temperature 93 degrees centigrade. So there is a note, a bullet at the beginning of the paragraph indicates that there is an expressed decision or action required by the purchaser. Who is the purchaser? The owner. When we said a purchaser is the owner. If there is a bullet point in APA 650, that means the purchaser has to take decisions. Okay, so here I mentioned here for your easy understanding, up to 2.5 psi APA 650 is used. If you are using any tank and the pressure is 2.5 psi, then 650 need to be used for construction. If it is more than 2.5 psi to 15 psi, then APA 620 should be used. If it is above 15 psi, then ASME section 8 to be used, and it is divided into 3 divisions, as you know. So 15 psi to 3000 psi for division 1, 3000 to 10,000 for division 2, and above 10,000 it is division 3. And another one thing, temperature up to 200 degree F, as I told here, 90 it is 650. But above 200 to 500 it is annexure M. This is another one question, must, it will come in exam. Many times it comes. Above 200 degree Fahrenheit to 500 degree Fahrenheit, annexure M of APA 650 is used. Okay, and dia up to 200 feet and cell thickness up to 1.5 inch is APA 650. Okay, so maximum dia 200 feet and cell thickness, cell plate thickness, okay, it is 1.5 inch max is APA 650. Above 200 feet dia, it is APA 620. Height, no limit. Height you can use whatever you need. So annexure M provides requirement for tanks with a maximum design temperature exceeding 200 F but not exceeding 500 F. This is a question you have to remember, my friends. This is most of the time it came in exam. NXR-M, NXM, NXM. Okay. Responsibilities. The manufacturer is responsible for complying with all the provision of the standard. Manufacturer means who is manufacturing, the EPC company. Okay. Inspection by the purchaser inspector does not neglect the manufacturer obligation to provide quality control and inspection necessary to ensure such compliances. The purchaser shall provide any jurisdiction site permit that may be required to erect the tanks. Jurisdiction means the local authority. Okay, so the purchaser or the owner always provide. There is a question, usually there is a question, who give the jurisdiction site permits? The purchaser, not the manufacturer. So the owner give the site permits, jurisdictional site permit. Jurisdiction means local authority. If you are manufacturing a plant in India, if you are doing in Saudi Arabia, so local authority, the local governments. Okay, so they will give the permits. So 1 to 2 question you will find from chapter 1. Let's move to chapter 3. Chapter 2 is the code reference, normative references, the code names and everything. Okay, so chapter 3. What is annular plate? Annular plate already I have described to you. A bottom plate welded to shell that is butt welded. Okay, that is butt welded. So you have to remember, I have told you many times, annular plates are always butt welded. Substantially radial joints and is required by 5.5.1 blah blah blah. Okay, so this is called annular plate. Annular plate is always butt welded. Okay, annular ring, a combination of annular plate is called an annular ring. This is the annular ring. Okay, and there are certain segments. So these segments are called annular plate. So when it is welded, butt welded, then this total part, then this total area is called annular ring. Coating, okay, coating, a term that includes protective material applied to or bonded to tank surface, including paint, protective materials, is called coatings. Coating and painting. Why coating and painting? Painting is shows some aesthetic view. Okay, coating is give the corrosion resistances only. Corroded thickness, that is very important. You will find questions for corroded thickness, corrosion allowance, okay, design thickness, ordered thickness. These are most important. I have explained in the next slide what is corroded thickness. Corroded thickness, a design condition equal to the nominal thickness less any specified corrosion allowance. Less any corrosion allowance. Corrosion allowance is always added. Always added. Okay, so a design condition equal to the nominal thickness. Nominal thickness. How much nominal thickness? Less any specified corrosion allowance. Corrosion allowance, any condition thickness specified the purchaser for corrosion during the tank service life. Let's say corrosion 1 mm per year. Okay, so 10 year 10 mm. So they have to add it. Okay, in the design thickness. Design thickness 15 mm plus corrosion allowance 10 mm. So 20 mm. 25 mm. Okay, so this is called corrosion allowance. So corroded thickness and corrosion allowance. So here I mentioned it. You have to remember, there is a question will come. Design thickness, okay, corroded thickness, retirement thickness. These three things are same. What is design thickness? It is same as corroded thickness and retirement thickness. Is the originally designed thickness. Let's say tank designed as per the liquid it will carry, as per the pressure, as per the volume, as per the temperature. It is designed that 10 mm thickness will require. Okay, so this 10 mm is called the design thickness or corroded thickness or retirement thickness. Okay, retirement. When it reaches to 10 mm, you have to retire. Okay, it is the safety factor. Okay, retirement thickness. After below 10 mm, I cannot run the plant. Okay, it is without corrosion allowance. Okay, without corrosion allowance. And I found that this tank in this environment will corrode every year. How much? Let's say 0.5 mm. Okay, 0.5 mm. I have to run this plant for 20 years. So 20 multiply 0.5 mm. How much? So 10 mm. So what I will do? 10 mm plus 10 mm. Okay, so 20 mm. So this is called nominal thickness. Okay, this is called nominal thickness. So this 10 mm is the design thickness. This is the corrosion allowance. So I have to add both these two, find The ordered thickness means the purchase. I will purchase a 20 mm thick plate. I will not purchase a 10 mm thick plate, or it is called a nominal thickness. So you have to remember this very carefully because you will get a question from this one. So nominal thickness or ordered thickness is the thickness of design or corroded or retirement plus the corrosion allowance. Clear? So design metal temperature. What is design metal temperature? The lowest temperature considered in the design. In the earth there are different places and the different temperature is there. Okay. So design metal temperature depends upon that particular area. Okay. So how this design metal temperature is considered? This design metal temperature is considered the lowest temperature considered for the design is unless experienced or special local conditions justify another assumptions shall be assumed to be 15 degree above the lowest one day mean ambient temperature. This is very important. I will take you to figure 4.2 later on and I will show you some example because you will find one question guarantee from closed book and one question guarantee from open book. Okay, they will mention in the question one location from USA because this figure 4.2 is only United States figure where the different locations given the different lowest one day mean temperature. Okay, if I will go to my locations Bangalore or Delhi or Mumbai, that lowest one day mean temperature is different. So how much it will come? I have to add 15 degree Fahrenheit above the lowest mean temperature. Okay, shall be assumed to be above the lowest one day mean ambient temperature. So how much the temperature will come? You have to add 15 degree F or 8 degree C to find the design metal temperature. Okay, clear? We will go to figure 4.2 in further slides and we will exercise this to find out what is the design metal temperature. A must question for open book and closed book. Design specific gravity. What is the specific gravity of water? It is 1. Okay. Design. How we will design? If there is multiple liquids are there, so the higher specific gravity should be considered. So that's what it is saying. The maximum specific gravity of stored liquid is design temperature. The greater value of all products when tanks are to be designed for multiple products. If there is multiple product and the specific gravity, the higher specific gravity of the liquid should be considered. What is design thickness? As I have explained earlier. So you have to remember always the design thickness. What is the difference between design thickness and order thickness? Okay, and what is corrosion allowance? You will find a questions 100%. Examiner. Who is examiner? Examiner is no one but the NDE, non-destructive examinations. Okay, a person who perform NDE is called an examiner. There is a difference between examiner and inspector. Okay, so here examiner is the person who perform NDE. A question will come that you have to remember. Inlet diffuser, internal fill line piping with impingement plates and baffles, slots or lateral openings is called inlet diffusers. You have to remember this is a closed book questions usually it comes. Insert plate, that you have to remember what is insert plate and what is thickened insert plate. Okay, insert plate, let's say there is a tank is there, this is the cell plate and you have to put a nozzle. Okay, and when you are putting a nozzle, if the nozzle there is a requirement in API 650 which will read later on, if the nozzle is greater than 12 inch or the cell plate thickness is greater than 1 inch, we need to do PWST. So in order to avoid the PWST, what we will do, we have to cut this area and we have to put the insert plate where we'll do what we'll do. Let's say this plate, we will bring it, we'll make a hole on this one and we'll weld the nozzle. Okay, after welding the nozzle, okay, after welding the nozzle, we'll cut the similar piece of plate in the tank and we'll attach and we'll do welding here. okay, all around the holding of the sword. So this is called insert plate. But insert plate, that is a criteria. What is the insert plate criteria? When the nominal thickness that is equivalent to or no more than 3 mm or 1/8 inch greater than the nominal thickness of the adjoining material. If the cell material, adjoining material means cell material. If it is not more than 3 mm, then we call it a insert plate. If it is more than 3 mm, then we call it thickened insert plate. This is a question must for APS 653, so kindly remember this one. Inspector, as I told, inspector. So inspector is a representative of an organization who ensure compliance with the standard and is responsible for various quality control and quality assurance functions as outlined in the standard. You have to remember it exactly. There is a closed book questions always come for inspector. Liner, why we put liner? Coating, painting, liner. Liner is another one term for protection against corrosion. So protective material used barrier but not adhered or not bonded. It is not bonded. Okay. So what are the liners? Lead, rubber, plastic, polyethylene. Okay. So these are called liners. It gives a protection to the base materials. Manufacturer, who is the manufacturer? The party having the primary responsibility to construct the tank. The EPC company who construct the tank is called a manufacturer. Maximum design temperature, as I explained you earlier, maximum design temperature, the highest temperature considered in the design equal to or greater than the highest expected operating temperature during the service life of the tank. So what is the highest temperature it will operate? It is called maximum design temperature. Minimum design specific gravity for floating roof design. Minimum specific gravity, I told you specific gravity is considered when there is multiple fluids are used. So at that time we have to consider during design the maximum specific gravity. But for floating roof, the lowest specific gravity for the stored fluid at designated temperature should be considered, because if it is highest, then it will shrink very fast. It will shrink. Nominal thickness, as I explained you earlier, the ordered thickness of the material. Okay, how much you ordered thickness, that is called the nominal thickness. The thickness includes any corrosion allowance. Okay, the corrosion allowance is included. Purchaser, this is very important. Always they ask in the questions. Purchaser is the owner. Okay, purchaser is the owner. Owner designated agent such as engineering contract is the purchaser. So thickened insert plates, already I have explained to you. If the insert plate thickness is more than 3 mm, then we call it thickened insert plates. So thank you friends. We have already completed chapter 3 for API 650 and we'll continue further, and within few slides we'll cover all the API 653. We'll start from API 650, then we'll go to 653, 571, 577, all these chapters, so section 5, section 9, all these chapters we'll cover, and we'll complete API 653 very soon. Many thanks friends for watching the video. Hope you are watching and sharing with your friends. Please like and subscribe the channel and share with your friends, and if you didn't subscribe the channel till yet, please subscribe it. Thank you very much for your time.